Welcome back to the 52 Weeks to Wealth. My name is Walter Morello, and we've been traveling through these wealth principles for the last 19 months. This is Wealth Principle 19. Become a world-class expert in your business. Now, many people will think that they are a world-class expert. In fact, hands to the camera if you believe you are one of the best in your area. Hands to the camera if you think you're pretty good. Awesome. Excellent. Now, the reason we do the 52 Weeks of Wealth is so that we can double our income and double our net worth. Hands to the camera if you have committed to doubling your income and doubling your net worth this year within 52 weeks, 1 year. Awesome. Excellent. Give yourselves a round of applause. You're in the right room. Now, for anybody who's listening, I want to verify that you are also in the right room. You're not in with the Zoom with us right now, but you might be on Facebook or YouTube. Let me ask you this. Would you like to make more money and do less work? If you like to make more money and do less work, if that's true for you, then you are also in the right room. Now, the wealth principles were designed because at some point I read over 400 books. I moved to Las Vegas. I was financially free by 30, a millionaire by 32, and a multimillionaire by 34. And somewhere along the way, I said, there's got to be a way to simplify this process, to double your income, double your net worth in a year. How do you do it? And it was over 100 principles that I dialed in. But I eventually chopped them down to be something usable, something where you could, in 52 weeks, within a year, one principle at a time, double your income, increase your net worth, double your net worth, or create financial freedom. Hands to the camera if you know somebody who just wants to quit their job. That's their only goal in life right now. They don't even care about being a millionaire. They don't care about increasing their income. They just don't want to go back to the same job. So the 52 wealth principles do that. Now, it wasn't easy. We had to attach books to them as well. Mike Shine's got a book that he's going to talk about a little bit later. But before we talk about the books and before we talk about why this principle works, I want to share a little bit about myself. If you've never heard me before, I started from nothing. I truly was broke. I wrote the book, Broke to $250,000. This is for anybody who's never heard me before. Go read the book first before you message me. And then I started building wealth through real estate. I bought one house and I bought another, then I bought another, then I bought another. And eventually at around 30 years old, I was financially free. I didn't have to work anymore. I quit my job. In fact, I made the mistake of quitting my job at 28 before I was financially free. Has anybody ever considered that, quitting their job before? That was the worst decision I had made. Prior to that, the worst decision I made was getting a divorce. That's where I hit my bottom, was deciding, hey, let's split this up. This isn't working, because the problem was still with me. I was the problem. Going through my life, it was challenge after challenge, kept coming into my life, no matter what spouse I was with, no matter what job I was in, no matter where I was on vacation. I always had the same problems, because you can't remove yourself from the situation. If you're finding things are happening to you that you don't want, the chances are you're the common denominator. It might be you. Hands camera if you can relate to that. If you've ever been the problem in your life. All right, so we got a humble group. So for everybody who is first time, everybody on camera, these are our millionaires in the making or already existing millionaires. These are people who've joined the Alchemist Mentorship Program. They've gone through our 8-week Jumpstart, and they're still with us. Many of them have been through year 1 of the 52 weeks. They've doubled their income, doubled their net worth, or become financially free. Many have been through year 2, and many have been through year 3. Hands to the camera if you're already in year 3 and you're blown away with how far you've come. Awesome. Love seeing your success, because your success is the success of others. We are on a mission to build 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. So it's not just about your financial freedom. It's about the financial freedom you can bring to others just by showing them what you've done. The reason most people are not successful is because they don't believe it's possible for them. And the second reason most people don't have what they want is because they don't know what they want. So if you know somebody who talks about wanting to be successful, who talks about wanting to do the right things, I'd strongly suggest inviting them to the 52 Weeks to Wealth challenge to see if they can become financially free, double their income, double their net worth. And if they've been talking about wanting success, invite them along. We'll see if they have what it takes. We'll see if they want it bad enough. We'll see if they can show up every week, take a new principle and apply it into their lives. Now, wealth principle 19, become a world-class expert in your business. This seems like a no-brainer. Yeah, of course, the person who's a world-class expert gets all the money, right? Hands can we agree that's no challenge at all, right? Become the world-class expert, you get paid everything. The challenge comes with becoming the world-class expert, right? If it was easy, everybody would do it. Hands to the camera if you would do it already. If you knew the steps, it would have been done, right? You would have been on it. Fortunately, there are steps. There are things that you can do to become a world-class expert in your area, in your market. And I'll tell you how I learned them on accident. I learned them because I was angry at my spouse. I was angry at the world. I was angry at the fact that nobody seemed to want to work with me. I was an accountant. I quit my job and I became a real estate agent. And I started selling. I got into sales. And as I was selling and well, actually, maybe I wasn't selling. I was just annoying people. So as I was annoying people and calling them and texting them and showing up at their house and door knocking and writing them love-filled cards that I didn't mean or care about. I just kind of wrote those thank you cards like, hey, thanks for letting me bother you for a day. I started realizing I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And my self-conscious started realizing that maybe I should get trained. Maybe I should get some education. So I went to a few trainings. Hence, Karen, if you've ever been to a few trainings, anybody go through a few dozen trainings? Hence, Karen, if you're like, I'll still go to another dozen trainings. There's still more out there. So I was like you. I was hungry to learn because I was sick and tired of living the way I'd been living. I was tired of not being able to pay the bills, tired of not being the man that I wanted to be, tired of not being able to care for my spouse and care for my family in the way that I had desired to care for them, to create the world that I wanted to create for myself and the people around me. I got sick and tired. And so I recognized I'm going to start educating myself until I know how rich people think, until I am thinking and habitually moving in the way that rich people move. And that's where the principle for becoming a world-class expert in your business started to reveal itself. I started modeling people who are extremely successful. I started looking at people who had been the best in their market. I started looking at the top real estate agents. I was looking at Barbara Corcoran. Who remembers the red dress from Shark Tank? Barbara Corcoran. I started looking at her and I said, what did she do? What separates her? Why is she so unique? I started looking at the millionaire real estate agents on HGTV. I started looking at the people on HGTV who weren't even real estate agents, who were flipping houses. And I started identifying what is it they're doing that I'm not doing that makes them the world-class expert. And that was where I started shifting over to social media, which, by the way, I share with you, before I got onto Facebook, I had made a solemn swear that I would never, ever get involved with this social media crap that everybody else was getting into. Hands to the camera if you remember that moment in your life also. Well, here we are. We're on social media. We're Zooming. We're streaming. We're everywhere digitally. And none of us are together in a space right now, which we'll talk about that later, why that can be detrimental to your business, but how it's giving us the cutting edge. When I realized I needed social media, I also realized another thing. I'm not very good at it. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't know what people even want. And so I had to start watching again what the champions were doing, what this guy, Gary Vaynerchuk, was doing. Can't spell his name to this day, but I've figured out that Gary V knows how to run social media. Hands care if you know who that cat is. Gary V, right? He's running those V friends. He's got those NFTs now. But before it was NFTs, he was telling me get on Facebook. He was telling me get on YouTube. He was telling me not too long ago, get on TikTok. 3 years ago, he told me to get on TikTok. 3 years ago, I got on TikTok. Right now, we have 26,000 followers on TikTok because of the work I put in 3 years ago, not because of the stuff I did recently. Hence, I can't recognize this is kind of a long-term thing. It's a long game. Awesome. As I was going through this, I also realized that my sales skills were terrible. I had to increase my sales skills. And in order to increase my sales skills, I had to go to people who had great sales skills. I started following Grant Cardone. I started following great trainers in the sales arena. I started reading things like How to Win Friends and Influence People, books like Sell or Be Sold. Og Mandino's The Greatest Salesman in the World. I started going after this education, training and developing myself so that I could learn how to be the best salesperson in the world. Hands to camera, if you've ever said you want to be the best at what you do, the absolute best in the world, then you're on the right path, right? Become a world-class expert, you must first believe it's possible. You must first believe that it's possible, not just possible, but possible for you. This is one of the steps. Now, I mentioned that there is a secret to becoming a world-class expert, a shortcut. I mentioned it on Facebook earlier in a post last night. Hands again if you'd like to know the shortcut that who's read the one thing, the book? Yes. So this is the one thing such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary. You want to become a world-class expert in your arena. There's one thing to do. There's only one task, one way to get there. And it involves doing something that only 1 out of 1,000 people have ever done across the entire world, across the millions of years or the 10,000 years we've been documenting human history. Only 1 out of 10,000 people have ever done this one thing. And that's write a book. The day you write a book, the day you post to all of your friends on social media that you are a published author, you have outranked them in their market. Real estate agents, real estate investors, business owners, entrepreneurs. The day your book hits Amazon or hits the market is the day you just got the diploma for becoming an authority in your marketplace. Ask here if you know diplomas don't work anymore. College has totally failed most people. The only people still winning in college are doctors and attorneys. There's a couple of classes that still work for making you rich. Engineers still do well. Everybody else, I was going to tell you a story. I was at Taco Bell the other day. This doesn't surprise the community. I get that. So I was at Taco Bell. I was in the line, and the girl said that I just got out of college because I've seen her a couple of times now. Imagine that. She said, I just got out of college. I said, wow, congratulations. It was her graduation day. I said, congratulations. What did you go for? And in my head, I was thinking, don't say general studies. Don't say psychology. Hands if you've ever thought that before when somebody's told you they went to college and graduated. So I had to think, please, please, please. And for whatever reason, I started feeling psychology come out. And she said, oh, psychology. I was like, awesome. Psychology is great for sales. Please, I strongly encourage you to get into sales and marketing with that degree. Because let me assure you, there's nothing else out there for you. The psychology will not work unless you start applying it to the right business, the right strategy. So anyway, getting back to the book, this is better than a bachelor's degree, especially an associate's degree. It's better than certificate. It's better than a master's degree or a doctorate, because a doctorate in psychology just means you get to sit and charge more per hour. A book means you can charge whatever you want. Hence, if you want to be able to charge whatever you want, because you are the authority. Here's another way that a book adds value to your authority. By the way, the reason you want authority, the reason you want to become a world-class expert is because you can demand whatever pay you want. Well, the other real estate agents are out there. Well, hence, if you're a licensed real estate agent, hence, if you know a licensed real estate agent, right? Anybody? Real estate investors, we know a few. Here's the deal. Real estate agents, they charge you 1% to 6% on a transaction. And they charge you only if they close on the deal. When you write a book, you can charge somebody for coaching to go and buy to buy a piece of real estate. Hands to the camera if you have ever paid me for any kind of coaching related to real estate purchases. Excellent. Hands to if you've ever been to any of my events and paid some sort of price for going to learn how to buy some real estate. Give yourselves a round of applause, by the way. You are proof of concept that it is also possible for you to do the same thing once you have written a book. Now, not all books are created equal. Obviously, some books do worse than others. Some books are fantasy novels, which I got a few over there. You know, we got the Witcher series, we got the Wheel of Time series, we got Lord of the Rings. Those books never brought me business, right? Like if I wrote a fantasy novel, which my brother has written some fantasy novels, go look up Joshua Amarillo, author. Those books have never brought in business. They may sell books and you make that $3 a book, but they don't bring in business. Whereas an intentional book, a book that is written towards your business, like Broke to a Quarter Million, was written towards teaching people how to get their first $250,000. We're going to do some exercise today, like we do every week. We do an exercise that's practical that you can implement. Hands to the camera if you would like to write your book outline today on this call. This is something that me and Jen give away for $1,000. We call it our construct meeting. It's a $1,000 product to sit down with us and write down the book, because here's what happens a lot of times. Somebody will sit down with us, do the construct meeting with us, and then afterwards go and write the book themselves, supposedly. They're gonna write it. And they start writing, they do it in the wrong order. They start with chapter 1. They start writing chapter 1 and they start going in chapter 2. They get to chapter 3. And by the time they get to chapter 4, they have no clue what the freaking book is about anymore. And they can't seem to get it back on track, because a book gets a mind of its own. Who's ever watched a movie and then listened to the director afterwards and just say the characters kind of got a mind of their own? They just went in these totally different directions and I had to bring them back on track. Has anybody seen that or heard that in a movie? Absolutely. Well, the same thing happens with a book. The characters come alive. They start to take life. The principles start to take life. If you're sharing how you run a business, your ego starts coming out and starts telling them about you and what worked for you and you. By the way, the reason somebody reads a book is not for you. It's for them. Right? The most important person in their life is them. It is them. If you want to really bring some value to somebody, you got to talk about them, talk about things that are valuable to them and their lives. They only care about your story if it serves to teach them a lesson, not to make you look good. So in our books, we actually have to share the pain. We have to share the embarrassing moments, the things that we didn't want to talk about. We don't want anybody to know about. We have to actually put those into our books. Hands to camera if this is valuable so far. If you'd like to do that with us right now, our construct, how this works. Excellent. Before we go into this, I do want to share a couple more reasons why the book works. Who's seen podcasts and thought, man, if I get on a podcast, I'd sell more of my product? Has anybody thought that? If I get on this specific podcast, I'd sell more. Absolutely. Who's seen radio segments where you thought, man, if I was that person on the radio right now, I would get more exposure? Anybody ever that crossed your mind? Awesome. Very smart group. Articles written in industry publications happen for authors. They snap out little text from your book and they drop it into their articles because you've written a profound piece of literature on a subject. You are the authority. Speaking at industry events. Hands to the camera if you're still afraid to speak at industry events, still afraid to get in front of people and publicly and speak. Hands to the camera if you know that would be the highest leverage thing you could do on the planet to make a lot of money. Get in a room with 100 people, 200 people, 1,000 people, and just tell them about your business and how to get there. Yes. So speaking events, whether it's on podcasts or live in person, changes the game. At the 100 Millionaire Summit last year, we made almost $300,000 in 3 days because we had 100 people to talk to. Now, that would have taken me weeks to go through 100 people and have those deep, meaningful sales conversations to find out what they needed, find out what their goals were, find out where they were going, find out what they wanted, find out how I could create that for them. Or I could, over a couple of weeks, ask them all those questions via surveys, get them to a 3-day event and deliver the exact product that they were looking for. Hands to the camera if you recognize that's more valuable, and that's only possible with a book. It really helps. Landing high profile clients happens when you hand them the book, when you let them know, yeah, I'm kind of the big deal on this. I'm kind of the authority. We just recently created a program where we sold the program for $25,000. We had one of our good community members buy double that. They said, Greg LeBlanc said, I want 50,000. 50,000 for one transaction. Now, obviously that 50,000 is going to lead into a $500,000 equity position. Melanie Santos said, she said after he did that, she's like, I'll go for the 50, but we already locked her into the 25, right? So she bought a $25,000 program where we're going to bring her $250,000 in equity. Hence, if you recognize the 10x value there, spend 25, make $250,000, worth it all day. It's because I wrote the book, Get the Deal. I'm the authority on getting real estate deals. I know how to do it. It's also because they like me a lot. So let's give them a round of applause just for, deep relationships. I love these guys. But you can get to higher level clients, like really valuable people who are players in the game when you've written a book in that specific industry. In fact, Greg gained so much from Get the Deal. He said, man, I will pay to have it on audio version. Right, Greg? Remember that conversation? You're like, dude, like I'll literally pay to have this put on audio. Hands to camera if you think that would be valuable to have it on audio. Coming soon. Coming. Give me time. I've done the first 4 chapters, and the rest I am going to send out to have somebody do. Now, coming back to you, because you're the priority. Now that I've sold you on the concept of how important this is, I want to give you the ability to go out and do this. And by the way, if after the construct meeting, you're saying, man, this is still a lot, who could do this for me? You already know the answer. Who knows Jen's Pens is a ghostwriting service that makes you look like the authority. That takes your words, your knowledge, your skill, and puts it into the book. We do not put our name anywhere on your document. This is your publication. This is your authority. This is your becoming the best world-class expert in your business. And we do it because that's how we build 100 millionaires. So as you go out and you serve more with your book, your education, putting it out there, if it's about money, if it's about wealth building, if your business in any way helps people make money, then you're building 100 millionaires, because all it takes is 100 people to read that book and take action on it. Hence, if you recognize it's a part of our mission. It's part of our core values to build authors, teach people how to speak and coach. Excellent. So let's do this. You're going to need a pen and paper for this one. For some of you, you may want to grab a mind map. We have a special tool that we use. It's MindMeister. You could use, there's a lot of different ones, but that's the one I can think of right now. It's a mind mapping service. And I'll pull it up on the screen. Who'd like to actually see our template, our book strategy template? Excellent. So this is proprietary, but you know me. I love you guys, and I want to see you be successful. So here's our book strategy. We start with our 6 core beliefs, our 6 core strategies. Now, the reason we do this, by the way, there is an intention behind everything that we do. If you start with the beginning, the book takes a mind of its own. But if you start with the principles that without any other thing in the book, the person would learn what you need them to learn, then that's the right place to start. You want to get your point across. You want to make this book so valuable that it's usable and shared and brought to other people. Even if you never made $1 off of it, you want to be so valuable that people would share it with others. So we start with your core beliefs. So we're going to start with that right now. What are the 6? Let's start with first, what is the one thing you're the authority on? What is the one thing that you are the best in the world at, or you are the greatest at, or that you do for other people? What is a service you provide for other people? For real estate agents, maybe you help them find houses. Maybe you help them make the decision on a house. For real estate agents, maybe you work with investors and you help investors find the best return on investment. For coaches, maybe like you're Doug McGurk, you help coaches speak. You help coaches get their message out, their clear message. Maybe you're like Mitch, you teach people how to do crypto. So this is your chance to write down, what is your thing, your special thing? For Frank Montero, he teaches people, he shows people how to get financing for their businesses, for their commercial loans, for their flips, for their rental properties. For Brian Huffman, he gets insurance for people, helps people get insurance. Mike Shine, he helps people get to the closing table. He helps people increase their income through partnering with people, because more partnerships means more closings. So Mike's at that next level. How do I build millionaires and get more closings for my business? All right, now that you've gotten your core belief, your core thing that you want people to learn, your core teaching, we're going to have to break it down into 6 core beliefs, 6 core beliefs. And these 6 are going to be your center chapters. So chapter 4 is actually step 1. Hands to the camera if that makes sense. Chapter 4 is step 1. Excellent. Excellent. Any of our authors who've been through this already have seen this, or maybe seen this for the first time if you're one of our original authors. So step 1, what are the 6 steps? You're going to write down the 6 steps that it takes to do your core belief. So for example, Michael Shine, he did a book with us on partnerships. One of his core beliefs was you had to be able to evaluate the people. You had to get the goals together on the same page. You had to, commitment was one of them. Are they committed? Are they somebody who flakes on things, or are they somebody who sticks to things? Being able to evaluate red flags, identifying red flags on a person. These are different skills that were required. So write down your core beliefs. For real estate agents, I have names on deeds. So the 7 steps to names on deeds. It was strategy, location. Then you had to submit an offer and evaluate the deal. Actually, it was evaluate the deal, submit an offer. Then you had to get the funding. And then you had to close on the property. And then you had to get management in place. So there's multiple steps for evaluating and getting real estate deals. So write your 6 down. This is your chance to write your 6 down. They don't have to be in the perfect order. You can adjust those later. And Scam, if you're you getting this, or you need a little more time? Who needs more time? Yep. All right, good. As you're writing, be thinking, what are the steps? What would be the right step? Again, it doesn't have to be perfect order, but just think about, like, if I could only teach 6 things, what would those 6 things be? If it's weight loss, maybe you're thinking about the nutrition aspects, 1 or 2 points on nutrition. If you're thinking about the physical workouts, 1 or 2 points on the physical workouts. And if you're thinking about maybe consistency, like showing up and like how important that is, or accountability, 1 or 2 points on those components. Those steps are going to be key to building your book. Next up, we're going to move into what we call the feel-good chapters. These are the chapters that move them towards something. If your book, by the way, a book is about sales. A book is about selling you, your service, a belief, an idea, a new form of education, a new way of thinking, a new way of operating. So the book has to sell them on something. And if your book doesn't give them a way to get back to you and connect with you in some way, you're not going to make any money. Hence, if you know it's got about making money too. We also have to bring them back to you. Yes. So the last 3 chapters, these last 3 chapters are very intentional. These are sales chapters. The book has to do 3 things. The first is entertain. The second is educate. And the third is empower. These last 3 chapters are designed to empower the reader to take action, whether that be with you, or whether it be with somebody else, or whether it be with taking action on a thought. So the last 3 chapters are super, super intentional. We may frame them as a scalability chapter or a communication and inspiration chapter. Why you want to be the village idiot. So you want to go and hire people who are mentors to you, or why you want to have somebody who knows what they're doing, or why you need to scale out and do systems. Chapter 10 typically talks about thinking bigger and leveraging other people. Chapter 12, we want to talk about and handle some objections. Perfectionism is procrastination. A lot of end chapters in a book are going to be talking about getting the challenges out of the way. Why would somebody not go and do something? It's because they read this book and they thought, I got to do everything perfectly. I'm not ready yet. Hence, if you know, perfectionism will kill you. It is the death to action. Yes. So in order to get somebody to do something, you have to talk about analysis paralysis, the death of procrastination, like why it's so bad. And understand the 2 things. This is a story that I kind of mentioned when I talked to an author. There are 2 things every rich person says. 1, they lean on other people's knowledge and resources. And 2, they wish they did it sooner. They wish they did it earlier. Then chapter 12 is the last chapter. This is the hug, the kiss, the high five, the daps, so that they can know that you're there, you're caring, and there's an opportunity for them to work with you in the future. Action steps for getting the most out of this book. This may be a space for you to go back and say, hey, this was what chapter 4 is about. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Remember chapter 1 without mindset and goal setting. Behavior change, things that may have to happen, opportunities. If you have a mentorship program, this would be the time to talk about it. If you had a mastermind, this would be the time to talk about it. If you have a service of any kind, this would be where you talk about it. And then you, at the end, say, look, no matter what happens, go do it. And you can see we have just fucking do it on our on our internal template for our community. Now, the last part of writing a book is what the user is going to read first. We never write the first 3 chapters until the end of the book, because we don't know what the book's going to be about. The first 3 chapters have to entertain. They have to get them engaged. They have to get them wanting to read the rest. This, by the way, this forum works for blogs. This works for sales conversations. This works for everything in life. You have to know the end in mind. You have to know where you're looking to bring them. You have to know what steps they want to know. And then you have to start the conversation with why they want to learn those things. Hence, care if that makes sense. Excellent. So the first 3 chapters are the last chapters we write, but they are the pivotal chapters. People will decide within the first couple paragraphs whether they're going to read your book or not. People will decide within the first few pages whether they like you or not, whether they trust you or not, whether they're going to do business with you or not. And so it's very important that in your first few pages, you handle them with care. The first chapter has to involve a story, a compelling story that doesn't make you look like a superhero, that shows some vulnerability, some waves in your life, but it tells them who the author is and why you're the authority on this subject. And then immediately within the first chapter, within the first page or two, you must tell them the WIFM. If you're a coach, a trainer, or a speaker, you know what the WIFM stands for. And if you're not, let me share with you. It means what's in it for me. What's in it for me? So every reader who's reading a book, who's ever read a book, has been thinking, why should I read this book? What's in it for me? How do I win? What is the gain I'm going to receive from reading this book? The next chapter, goals and clarity. You've got to go deep in goals and clarity, because if you don't, they won't read the rest. If you can't set a reason for them to read, they're not going to go through the rest of the book. So goals, especially for financial books or health books or relationship books. Hey, do you want a better relationship? This is a goal you're going to have to set for yourself. Maybe I want 2 kisses a day from my spouse. Maybe I want them to say something nice for me. Maybe I want them to take out the trash. Maybe I want them to be able to come home and like have flowers with them. Maybe I just want them to spend some time with me, quality time, and just talking. So you have to set that goal in chapter 2 for them to have some context on why they're going to read this book. Does that make sense? Within the first chapter, the first page of chapter 2, I'm already talking about the 100 Millionaires process, right? Any one of my books, I'm talking about, I want you to make more money. I want you to be successful. I want you to have financial freedom, so that the person can come through and desire the same things, setting goals. We also talk about the importance of big goals in chapter 2. Chapter 3 is empowerment. You can do it. We want to tell some stories about how you didn't do it, how it didn't work out, and then suddenly it did. If you have testimonials of people you've worked for, this is the point to slam a few of those testimonials, share their beliefs, their limiting beliefs. Why I didn't think I could do it because I was handicapped in this area. And then suddenly I had this mentor, took me by the hand, and took me to the next level. Hence, if you can already catch why that would be valuable for somebody who's reading it. It's basically reviews. But the first 3 chapters, the person is amped up. By the first 3 chapters, the person is like, fuck yes, I can't wait to read this book, because I know the next 6 chapters are going to be so valuable, so full of content. By the way, your chapters are readable on the first page of the book. Who's ever read the chapter review, the beginning, the first page with like the first 12 chapters, and looked at those titles and said, that's why I'm buying the book? Anyone ever do that? Yeah. So you and me are the same. We look at those first 12 lines and we think, oh, I'm about to get the goodies. Pro tip, break out your chapters with sub-chapters underneath. Get extra reasons for people to open the book. We all have subcategories within our chapters. We all have a little thing where we're like, well, this 6 principles was nice, but one of those principles has 8 principles in it. And I've really got to, kind of break those up into 2 paragraph, 2 paragraph, 2 paragraph. That's extra SEO on your front page. Search engine optimization, by the way, this is the search engine right here. These 2 eyeballs in this brain is looking at that first page saying, do I want anything on this list? Looking at the menu for their success. Hence, if you're catching this, your titles should share results. Don't share what's in the chapter. Share the result that the chapter will deliver to you. We're getting this? We having fun right now? We're writing our book? Hell yeah. Now, this book only becomes a reality when you decide to make it a reality. We believe in books because books have built our wealth of knowledge, and our financial wealth, and our relationship wealth. We have 52 books that we believe in. Hardcore, we share them every single week. I know Mike Shine just walked away, but we're going to have somebody share the book of the week. Who's read the book Outliers? There he is. Let's give Michael Shine a round of applause. Mike is the keeper of the books, the holistic attorney, and the closer.
Jesus.
He's been with us from the very beginning. He was a millionaire when he started, but he didn't recognize it until he was sitting in the room. And I just said, oh yeah, Mike's a millionaire. And he was like, what? Oh wait, I am.
What?
And from that day forward, Mike has been a big part of building millionaires. He's been a coach in our community. Let's give Michael Shine a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Mike, what is the book of the week?
First of all, I got to apologize if I cut in and out because my internet is doing crazy things today. So I apologize. for the book of the week is Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And it's a really interesting book because it shows, well, first of all, one of the quick things that it shows is that if you do 10,000 hours of anything, you will become a world-class expert in your field, whether that's playing violin, whether that's like the Beatles. The Beatles would play like 8 hours a day in Hamburg, Germany, just practicing. And that's how they became so good at their craft. Hockey players, this is kind of interesting story. If you're at the cutoff age where you're the oldest of the Canadian hockey players, and you always got more opportunities than the younger kids did because you were a little bit more mature. So they would say, oh, this kid, he can go up to the next level and we'll give him more opportunities. So it's an amazing book with lots of stories in it. I always like books with lots of stories, but the principle, when Walter and I were talking about this, definitely become a world-class expert in your business. So yeah, that it definitely shows you that. But one of the things that I took away, this is just me personally, is that all different people get all different types of opportunities, whether that's me going to law school, or Walter kind of stepping up to real estate, or I was thinking of Jonathan Mello, suddenly he's doing property management. And what I get out of this book, and if you had to encapsulate in 1 sentence, is if you see an opportunity that is handed to you, take that opportunity. Because what happens in Outliers is different people get different opportunities. They talk about this one guy, Jewish attorney, but there was all this anti-Semitism. So none of the big firms would hire him. So he jumped in and he took a job in a less prestigious firm because that's all he could get. He ends up taking this firm, and it becomes this firm, Skadden and Arps, which ended up with 2,000 attorneys in it and crushed, and they were doing specialized work. So he came from nothing, but it was all because the prestigious firms wouldn't take him simply because he was Jewish. So that was just an opportunity. So if the universe hands you an opportunity, take that opportunity. And if you miss the first one, don't beat yourself up, take the next one. So Outliers, it's a great book. It's fun to listen to or read. I got it here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Outliers. Malcolm Gladwell, highly recommend it. I read it and I listened to it. Thank you.
Let's give Michael Shine a round of applause. He is the keeper of the books. Again, he's the holistic attorney. He's the closer and a really good friend. So if you're getting value from the 52 Weeks to Wealth, my strong suggestion is that you show up again week after week. The people who do this consistently over and over are the ones who make the most money. Hands to the camera if you gain some value from today's call. If you gain some value, if you're going to share it with somebody. Awesome. Here's another way to level up your game. If you want to become seen as a professional, seen as an expert, start doing something on social media. If you're not a live video person, which by the way, live video goes out, it gets attention, then do a recorded video. Spend some time, edit it. If you're a perfectionist, do a reel. Reels are getting a ton of attention on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. Do the YouTube shorts. One video that you do can become 4 or 5 pieces of content. I just found out our team is now posting on Pinterest because Pinterest has idea pins, which are basically short videos. And we're getting dozens of views out there that we never would have had otherwise. So especially if your product targets women, Pinterest is highly leveraged towards women. There's a lot of opportunities for you and your business just by sharing something you've learned with somebody else. Wealth Principle 20 is next week. Wealth Principle 20 is the 10X rule to your planning. Apply the 10X rule to your planning. Hands to the camera if you know the 10X rule, what it stands for. Excellent. So we're going to be applying it to your planning next week. Be here or be square. When you have a choice, always work with the best. Cheers to your success. I love you guys. We're going to open this up to questions now. Let's stop the recording. let's open up to questions. Darina, Amy, if you can bring anybody into the room, are there any questions in the chat that I missed? Because I wasn't looking at the chat. And first unmute gets to go, or Amy's just going to start reading some off to me.
So I actually have a question. I didn't see any in the chats yet, but if people want to throw them in or, jump in after me. When we were talking about writing this book, you were saying that the last chapter should be regarding sales. But what if I don't have a product yet? Like, should I be forming a product in order to provide services?
That's a great question. And we get that on occasion. We have two people who've asked that from us. And the answer is no, you don't need a product, but yes, you should be building your product while we're building the book. It takes us about 6 months to 8 months to put a book together. So you have time to go and create a product, get something under your belt. And if you don't have a product, you're probably not writing a book yet, right? It's probably not time to write a book. A book can take some time to put together. It can cost some money. And then promoting it is also time consuming. So you want to make sure that you have some way to make money before writing a book. Can't care if that makes sense. Like if you don't have a way to make money, and I say this often, if you don't have a way to make money or a business or a goal that you're seeking, you may not want a business coach. You may want to go and figure out what your business is. If you don't have a reason to speak on stage, you don't need a speaking coach. But if you do have a reason to speak, get a coach. If you do have a product to sell, get a book. That makes sense? Awesome. Thank you, Amy. That was a great question. Thurbin, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so it's kind of harping on that last question a little bit, but let's say you're in the process of, I guess, figuring out how to price yourself and stuff like that. And do you think that the company you go through, like to form your book, market it, and all that stuff, should they be able to help you with that process? This is like a general question.
I believe that they should, because that's what we do. I believe that everybody should be held to the same standards that we hold ourselves to, because I was also in your position. Actually, Thurbin, it was a great conversation we had with you this week, right? Yep. And if anybody wants to have a conversation with Jen and figure out like what your book should be about, what product you should sell, then schedule a call with Jen. I always sit on the first call when we're going down and we're saying like, hey, how do we sell this? How do we, identify what we're selling, what the price should be? I'm always involved in those calls because I'm the salesperson. I like selling. I live to sell because I know what your value is. And a lot of times authors like Thurbin, you may not know your value, right? You've been delivering so much value. For anybody who doesn't know, Thurbin's read over 175 books. And this year, he did that in 2 years. This year, he's reading 100 books. And that's what his book is going to be about. How to intentionally read the right things. How to read the right things, not just read a bunch of things and get, be able to say you ranked up books, but how to change your life via taking in the right information. Hands to camera if that's a course, people would want to buy. Awesome. Excellent. So Thurbin, to answer your question, yes, I genuinely believe that if you're working with a ghostwriting service, a company, they should be able to tell you what your product should look like, how you could market it, and how the book itself would be able to move people towards that product and program. Pricing is a very unique thing. It will go up over time, especially if you get really good. As you put your 10,000 hours in, like we talked about in Wealth Principle 19, as you start putting in your 10,000 hours, your price is going to get better because you're going to become a world-class expert. Prices don't go up because you think you're worth more. Prices go up because you are worth more. Does that make sense? Awesome. Let's give Thurbin a round of applause. Great question.
Thank you.
Hell yeah, brother. What else? Unmute the mic. First unmute gets to go. We'll be here for about 15, 20 minutes. So time is of the essence. The person who shouts out gets it. Go ahead, Jamie.
Hey. Okay. Sorry, I just missed that last question. I had to take my dog out. So if this is redundant, please just let me know. My question would be more towards like an imposter type of syndrome. So say you don't have those 10,000 hours, but you've done the same thing like so many times that it just becomes like second nature. Like, how do you overcome like well, I know how to do this, but then you kind of like second guess yourself. Like, how can I be an expert when this person has been doing it for 20 years and I've only been doing it for 2 years? Like, how do you get over that?
Well, Jamie, fortunately, you're writing a book. And fortunately, you're writing something about an experience that you understand very, very well. Have you worked with at least 10 clients? And by the way, this is not my opinion on whether people should do this or not. This is just how I would do it in a space that I'd never done it before. Is that okay to clarify it that way, Jamie?
Yes.
So I've never cut hair for another human being before. I don't even have hair to be cut. Does that make sense? We can see this. It's visibly clear the hair is not my thing. And yet I created a coaching program for hairstylists, for hair salons. And the way I did that is I went out and I searched for the top authorities. I searched for the webinars. I searched for the web pages. I searched the forums. I searched for the top 5 books. And in 1 week, I digested all 5 books, all of that content. I went hard because I don't like to waste time. My life is too valuable. And the people I've committed to are too valuable for me not to be able to deliver on the things I said I would deliver on. So I went through the process, read all the books, and at the end, I discovered 2 things, 2 very interesting things. Everything when it comes to selling in hair salons is exactly the same business-wise, business acumen, marketing, sales, all of this is exactly the same as real estate. So everything I already had an experience with. But what was different was that the stories, what their scripts were, what they sold, they had magic shampoo. The magic shampoo that you rub on their head is actually NLP, but the hairstylist gets to use tactical, physical touch. Whereas as a realtor, I don't really get to use physical touch other than hugs and high fives. So what they did to give good benefiting feelings is while they were massaging your hair, they would talk about, oh, this is the magic shampoo. This is the one. This is what really makes it work. And yes, I sell it for $30 here in the salon with a 40% markup that I make most of my profit on. Hands to the camera if you've ever been to a salon or you can envision this happening in a salon. Yes. So I learned the process and then I taught the classes. And you know what? The things that really stood out to me, the things that I thought were super profound, I took from those books and then I told them, go read these 2 books. By the way, out of the 5 books, 3 sucked. 3 were complete garbage. They were like completely useless. They gave no value. All they did was sell this coach's coaching program, and which pissed me off because I was like, holy shit, like I write books. This is the worst way to write a book, right? The other books were super valuable. And at the end of it, I knew in my head, if I stayed in this business, I'd be hiring them as coaches. Does that make sense? So that is the way, Jamie, like go out and find out what the authorities on the subject have already said and take your personal experience and use your personal stories and relate that and just be the authority. Just absolutely own it and do not worry about whether you are the original creator of it. The 52 Wealth Principles, when we release that book next year, T. Harv is a part of that, right? Napoleon Hill's a part of that. Og Mandino's a part of that. There's so many other authors, Grant Cardone, that are a part of my belief system that I'm sharing with this community. So I have to give ode to them. I have to share that knowledge and say, look, I learned it from this person. Check them out too, right? The goal is not to like step on anybody else. It's to stand on the same stage with everybody else. And as far as believing in yourself, you might want to have a conversation with Doug McGurk, right? Believing in yourself's a thing. Go ahead, Doug.
I see Mike and Mitch have something to say on this too, so I'll be real quick. One, you know more than someone else. So it's not about having 20 years or whatever. It's just that you know someone more. And some people may get intimidated by someone with the 20 years of all of that, but they go, oh, wow, I can relate to you and I can share a story about that. And then the last thing I want to share around this is Tony Robbins at the beginning paid homage to Jim Rohn, Richard Bandler, all of that. And he would let them know, whoever it was, he didn't have 10,000 hours yet. He would say, this is what I've learned from Richard Bandler, from Jim Rohn, from what have you, just to what Walter was sharing. Like in this, he's paying homage to the authors and creators of the content. So it's not like we have to reinvent the wheel. It's that we show how we applied these concepts in a way that were effective. And I don't know if Mike or Mitch you were going to say that, but that was my thought.
give Doug McGurk a round of applause. If you never met Doug, you got to meet Doug. He trained with Tony Robbins. He coached for Tony Robbins for 3 years. He coached Tony Robbins' people for 3 years, touring with Tony all across the country. Before that, he was in rock bands, by the way, like not little rock bands, cool rock bands. And he's still got all of those friends. He's a massive connector. He's a stage speaker. And if you want to learn how to speak the way Doug speaks, the way Tony speaks, be able to move people, inspire people, and of course, sell to people via stage, Doug McGurk is the way to go. Let's give Doug one more round of applause. I appreciate you, brother. He's also a millionaire who's on the mission to build millionaires. And we appreciate all of our millionaires who contribute to us each week. Mitch Jorsky, you're up. Oh, no, Mike. Mike, I'm muted first. Go ahead, Mike. That's one of the rules, Mitch. I mean,
So I did a program a long time ago. And actually, Doug says that the Tony Robbins sends his coaches to this program. And the big thing that's like 30 years ago, but the big takeaway from mine that I got from the program was just saying, thank you for sharing to those conversations. So you're doing stuff and you're going along. And first of all, Jamie, I know you're an amazing attorney and you're doing great. And then this conversation comes up in your head, oh, I'm not good enough. I haven't been doing this long enough. And you just say, hey, thank you for sharing. And then it just goes away. And then you keep hammering, doing the great work that you do. And from that, that's number one point. And then one other quick point is what you think about, you bring about. So stop talking about imposter syndrome. Like that that vocabulary, just get it out. We don't need to just change that affirmation to something like, I am a rock star lawyer and I do the research and I crush it. That's my
give Mike Shine a round of applause.
Yeah.
Mitch, I see you, brother.
So, yeah, since Mike's my brother from another mother, I also have 2 points. So point number one, and Walter will be happy because I haven't done it in a while. So Jamie, Nas, one of the greatest rappers ever, once said, there's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done. Right. So that goes back to Doug's point about talking about Tony Robbins. Like a lot of stuff that Tony Robbins does, he didn't create, he learned from others. Right. And he credited those people and then he put his own twist on it and brought a lot more energy to it. Right. He made that space exciting. So in the end, you know, Mike said, like, forget about the imposter syndrome. It's true because you could always feel that because there's always going to be someone that knows more than you. Like case in point, cryptocurrency. I wrote a cryptocurrency book. When I'm in a room with you guys, like in this room right now, I'm the crypto expert. I know more about crypto than anyone in this room. When I get off this call and I go onto Discord and I go into my crypto, servers, and I'm with the crypto geeks, I feel like I know nothing because someone's always going to know more. Like you can't know everything about a topic. I mean, for instance, there's over 18,000 different crypto coins. I know probably 1,000 of them. Like it's impossible to know all of them. Right. So this is something I went through as well, where, imposter syndrome. Oh my God, I don't know enough. Oh my God, there's people that know more than me. It doesn't matter. You find what you're good at. You put your voice on it. Like what I know about you is, about trademark law. So if you wrote a book about trademarks, they'd be like, oh, this is going to be very informative. I know she knows about that. Right. And you're just putting your own twist on it. And it's about the way you present it. And something I focus on now is edutainment, because these days you can't just educate. No one pays attention. You have to entertain them and educate them. And you see, we do that, I think, in Alchemist Nation. We do it at the 100 Millionaire Summit. And constantly level it up. Right. So just keep that in mind. Someone's always going to know more. It doesn't matter. You're all talking about the same stuff. Just put your own personal twist on it. And as Walter alluded to with this principle this week, and he's talking about like the books, you want to tell stories. Stories are how people remember things. Stories, how you engage people. So why do you think every single movie that has an underdog story ends up like being a hit, right? You have to tell some kind of story within making your points. Stories, like I said, they not only grab people's attention, but it gets them invested. So again, forget the imposter syndrome thing, because that's something that will always be there if you let it.
Awesome. Let's give Ms. Jorsky a round of applause. For everybody who's just logging in now, I see a few people jumping in. This is in regards to Wealth Principle 19. Become an expert, a world-class expert in your business. You must become a world-class expert in your business. We're just answering some questions on Wealth Principle 19. If we don't get to your questions, you go to alchemistnation.com and you can just drop them right into the activity feed, and we'll be responding throughout the rest of the weekend. I see a few more hands up. Let's take them. And I saw a few hands drop down. The ladies that had their hands up, if you guys want to ask questions, you can put those, you can just unmute your mics. I saw you up there first. And Anila, and there was another woman that I didn't catch your name, but it began with a C. You know who you are. Unmute the mic. Go ahead. And yeah, Christina.
I don't know if I'm that lady, but I'm gonna go ahead and take opportunity.
Jasmine took it, but Christina and Ella, get those hands up. Go ahead, Jasmine.
I'll lower my hand. But I just got to thinking because, my husband and I started a wholesaling business, and I'm thinking, well, writing a book on wholesaling, I still feel like a student to some degree, but mothering. I have 7 children, and throughout my mothering experience, I've been a single mother for many of them. I feel successful because I have an adult child who is living on her own. She's self-sufficient. She's now a mother, and I've been coaching her on how to mother. And as I'm observing her mothering, it's going rather well. My granddaughter is just turning a year. She knows how to count to 4. She can recognize people. She can say hi and bye. So I'm just summarizing and saying, like, well, maybe that is a gift that I have, and a book that women and people alike who are parents would benefit from, just learning how to offer that mothering experience and that nurturing experience. So I started writing a book, and it was a memoir about my life. And I kind of got stuck there because it was like, I don't want to go back to some of those places. It was really dark, and I don't want to like rehash them, but maybe taking an approach from my mothering experience during that time might be a better idea.
And Jasmine, do you have a question? Is that in question form, that last part?
Well, I guess so. I guess it is because I'm sorry, I didn't put it up. It's coming from my head. I'm trying to think fast. I guess it would be because you're mentioning that we should be experts in our field. So my question is, well, now would I divert that attention and writing that book from like the business side, what I'm doing professionally in real estate, to what I've done personally in my personal life?
Oh, that's a beautiful question, Jasmine. That is a much deeper conversation. I would say Jen just dropped her link in the chat. That is a much deeper conversation. And yes, absolutely. We can tie in what your parenting skill has created into your real estate agency business. This way, people see you as the authority of a subject and now want to do or refer business to you because they like what you've taught them. And that's a business model that a lot of real estate agents have turn into leveraging, so that they want to stand out from everybody else. Everybody's got their license. In fact, look on this call right now when we do this exercise. Hands to the camera if you're a licensed real estate agent. Let's give our licensed agents a round of applause. 50% of the room put their hands up, right? So Jasmine, that's a great way to stand out. And for anybody who is like Jasmine, wants to identify what product, what program, how you could attach your thing, your gift, then have a conversation with Jen Sullivan, and let's book it for this week or next week. Jasmine, one more thing. Would it be valuable if I polled the room to find out if that would be a great product, if that'd be a book somebody would read?
Yes, please, because that would definitely help me. Oh, yeah, I'd love it.
If learning how to be a great mother so that your children end up being able to handle themselves, is that a book that the world could use? Hands to the camera if that's something people would love to read. Excellent. All right, so let's give Jasmine a round of applause for being brave, jumping on the call today. Awesome job. Annabelle, Anila B, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Hi.
And then I see Vinny Chopra is on the call. We got a billionaire in the house. Let's give Vinny a round of applause for showing up with us. He's doing his miracle morning in San Diego. I know it. Go ahead, Anila.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, good. Nice to talk to you in person. It's my first time actually talking. I'm a little bit out of my comfort zone here, but I told myself I was going to do it this week, and thank you. I want to thank you for this weekly Saturday meetings that we have. I always feel very uplifted after, and sorry, I'm a little emotional now, I guess. I don't know. As far as the book, I think for me, I actually related to what Mitch said because I felt like excited in the beginning, like, yes, I can write a book. And then I was like, oh, what can I write about? I mean, there's so much. And one thing, I've worked in the healthcare for many years. Maybe I could write something about that. I don't know. Another thing is I've lived on my own for many years. Could maybe write something about that. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm so emotional talking. I think just a little nervous.
Anila, and this is for everybody who's vulnerable enough to share what you believe your gift is. It's not easy in this world to say, I think I'm good at something, because most of the world, all the people around you would crush you the second you try to tell them that you're better than them at something. And so to be on a call with 72 people and over 2,000 other viewers on Facebook to say, hey, I think I'm good at this, is kind of a big deal. Hands to the camera. Let's, if you can recognize that, let's give her a lot of love right now, just for, you know, being on here and being willing to say it. Anila, let's have a conversation with Jen. That is one of the things we do in our construct meetings, is we identify, because by the way, everybody has a book in them, but authors have like 10 books in them. And so somebody who's, if you know, you're like, man, I'd like to write a book, you probably got a whole bunch. And that's where I'll tell you which one to write first. The most important thing is to write the one that's going to pay you first, Anila, the one that's going to bring money into your life, so that you can now have the time to go and really build out your passion project. I have a book in me. I have a book in me that I love so much that I want to write, that I haven't had the ability to write because that book wouldn't serve the community yet. I had to write Names on Deeds. I had to write Get the Money. I have to write Get the Deal, wrote Get the Deal, have Get the Money, broke to $250,000. But the book I really want to write, is it okay if I share that with you right now, since you're being vulnerable with me?
Yes.
The book I really want to write is Stick-to-itiveness. It's what's made me successful. I pick something and I stick to it forever until I'm successful. I pick a person or a community or a mission or a cause, and I stick to it until I die, until either I die or the cause dies. But one of us will die before I end that relationship. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Please write that book, man. We need that one. I need that one. I'm gonna tell you now. I didn't mean to cut anybody off. My apologies, man. But I need that book. That's me.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
So coming soon. Let's give Eric a round of applause for pumping up my ego a little bit. It's not easy to share the things that we want to do, and let's give Anila a round of applause for booking a call with us. I know that we'll figure it out, Anila. Whatever.
Thanks for listening.
Whatever one makes the most sense, we'll dial in for you. We'll get you there.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. What else? Questions, comments? Christina, go ahead, girl.
Okay. I think I feel like I don't have an identity. I came from Peru in 2000, so I had to start all over. And I was a lawyer in Peru. I am yes. Here, I am not a lawyer, but I work for a law office. And I do real estate too, which I love. I buy and hold. I don't do it as much because I'm doing it alone, and I'm trying to learn to get partners and to work with people, which is very difficult for me. I am trying to do everything by myself. And so coming up with the
camera,
money.
if you've ever felt the way Christina feels right now about partners. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hands to the camera if you know there's a partnership course created by the one and only, the great, the mighty, the legendary Michael Shine, the closing attorney. Right? By the way, Christina, Michael Shine's a closing attorney. So you already have a lot in common. And he's the king of partnerships. Loves partnering with people.
Okay. Well, I have to learn that. I've been partnering with sellers. I'm, seller financing and subject tos, so I don't have to come up with the down payment as much as down payments. And I've been doing that. But I want to get into apartments, bigger deals. So that's been a block right now for me.
Christina, I have the craziest gift for you right now. I have an opportunity that with what you just said, I'm about to blow your mind, right? So I don't know if you know who Vinny Chopra is, but you're about to know who Vinny Chopra is. He owns.
I heard about him.
You've heard about him. you're about to meet him live in person. Vinny, do you mind unmuting your mic and sharing how she can learn more about multifamily syndications?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm learning so much. Oh my gosh. I should have joined this place way earlier. Of course, I got up at 4:45 this morning, but this is exciting. I just looked on my calendar. It's there. I would love to join as much as I can, but I'm just a humble guy, just got into single family homes many years back and then got into multifamily. It's just the power of zeros. I call it the zeros to the right. Single family is one house, then duplex is two, then three, then 10, and then 100 is just two zeros right after one. So that's been my success. But it's the idea of pooling the money together. See, that is it. Because whatever we want to do, wholesaling or sales or any business you want to start, you want partners and you want to get happily involved so that they are benefiting from your association. Right? That's the biggest thing. How can you serve others so that they could come with you with a common goal and reach bigger heights together? And that's the life about. Life is about teamwork, not a solo work. So essentially, all I want to say a little bit, I have learned so much from Doug and, from Michael and, from Mitch, and just these last 10 minutes have been so wonderful. No, really, Walter, I'm proud of you, brother. And I just can't wait and hug a lot of you all in October. I hope all of you will be there. All of you will be there. I'll be there along with great, great people. And Luke Wren, I talk about Tony Robbins. Tony has really made me the person I am today. Jim Rohn, Tony, Norman Vincent Peale, Dale Carnegie, W.J. Schwartz, Wayne Dyer, Tom Hopkins, Zig Ziglar. You name it. You name it. I'm a product of all these mentors. I really am.
Let's give the great Vinny Chopra, Vinny Smile Chopra, a round of applause. And Christina, since we've got this opportunity, and I do want to point out, by the way, that Vinny has a course on Alchemist Nation. If you go to alchemistnation.com, go to multifamily syndication. This is a course that he donated out of the kindness of his heart. He took the time to build all these videos, to put this course together, and he offered it to our team and said, hey, just give this to people. Now, Vinny has a program that he's combined with us with our mentorship. And if you're interested in learning more about that, book a call with Amy McMurray or Derek Neal, because they'll talk about whether it's right or wrong for you. Now, Christina, very specifically, Christina, book a call with Amy. She'll have a conversation with you. She'll know what's going on in your world and like what makes sense. But let's play a little bit. Vinny's here right now. We got Vinny Smile Chopra on the call, and he's loving you. So, Christina, if you could ask one question to Vinny, and keep it short because everybody's time is valuable. And I want to see if I can get through one more question. What would be the best question you could ask Vinny right now?
How do I transform my network into my partners?
Love it. Love it. This is such a great question. Actually, it should be on everybody's mind. Because, we have always heard my net worth equals network, right? So how is that equal? Only if we harness. The word is use, harness, serve your network to bring value to them so that they bring value to you. See, it's always, you want to give more than what you want to get. You want to give so much that the other people say, you know what? I like this person. Who likes other people? People like those who give themselves in very positive and enthusiastic way, whatever their cause is, and then you'll be able to kind of have the benefits to them. You got to always see not what's benefiting you, but what's benefiting your network. All right. And then, oh, sorry, please go ahead.
No, I'm listening to you. Yes.
Yeah, the big thing is networks are also very big. Hold on. You might have 1,000 people in your network, or 2,000 or 10,000. In my case, in my iPhone, I have maybe 27,000 people in the last 30, 40 years. I've kept everybody's information and things like that. But then you got to segregate. You got to take out and take the people in your line of business or who would like to really help and partner and contribute to you. So then you go from a big mass to smaller number, and then you start looking at what will be the benefits of your services to them. So put yourself in their shoes. Avatar, I call it avatar. You got to find who are the people in your network who can benefit from your services.
Vinny, that is
That
huge.
is-
It's all about adding value. Let's give Vinny Chopra a round of applause. Added so much value to us this weekend. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Christina, was that helpful?
Yes, it was really helpful. Thank you so much.
Let's give Christina a round of applause for being brave. Awesome. Every week we go through one of the 52 wealth principles. Today we talked about wealth principle 19, which was become a world-class expert in your business. Wealth principle 20 is next week. Wealth principle 20 is how to apply the 10x rule to your planning, to your business. Be here next week. By the way, who already knows what the book of the week is next week? We've been asked by one of our millionaires, one of our beautiful millionaires, Melanie Santos. She said, as we were polling the community this week, Amy McMurray started calling around. By the way, who's got a call from Amy this week? Can't scan if you've got a call from Amy already. Awesome. Excellent. So she's going to be calling through. She's going to send you all a survey on what do you like about the 52 weeks? What could we change? What we could make better? And she asked, can you let us know what the book of the week is in advance so that we could prepare? Who would like to read the book of the week in advance so that next week you already know what's going on? Awesome. Mike Shine, I see you got the book, brother. Let's give Mike a round of applause. The keeper of the books.
Yeah,
What is next week's book of the week?
Read it with me next week. 10x rule, 10x, and then we can all go like this together. 10x.
Grant Cardone's book, is that right? 10x.
That's right.
The
10x.
smallest book that has so much information in it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Actually, we should all read it every year. Every year.
I feel like Vinny would be like 10x, 100x. What are you talking about?
How do you think he got to where he is? 10x is every year.
I got to say something. You know, the successful people are only those people who repeat, who watch, who read, and who listen repeatedly. All these great habits forming techniques. Because see, the book is filled with so many great things. It's not what you read or listen, it's what you apply. It's what you apply and become a second nature to you so that you are growing every day. So 10X rule, I mean, it's a great book. I remember reading and rereading and all that. Lately, I'm not, but I'm going to open it up and see in my bookcase where it is lying, you know, because Grant Cardone sent me, or his team sent me that. But no, thank you. No, I think we should be reading and listening to positivity and listening to really aligning our mind every morning. We got to align. We got to make sure. Miracle Morning is another one I'm sure you have discussed. Will Hal Alrod, Miracle Morning. It's amazing when we get up in the morning and pay gratitude and we really, give our thanks to everybody around us and get ready for the day every single day, 7 days a week to really crush it.
Let's give Vinny Chopra a round of applause, add in value. And for anybody who wants to know, just like Vinny said, we read these books every year. Some of these books are worth reading annually. Who's interested in seeing what the 52-week books are? associated with the 52 Weeks of Wealth. Excellent. So if you go to alchemistnation.com, go to the feed right at the top, it says Millionaire Wealth Principles 52. When you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a button that says 52 Millionaire Books. When you click those books, you're going to see each one of the books of the week. We are at Wealth Principle 20, apply the 10X rule to your planning. And guess what? When you click on that link, it brings you straight to Amazon. You can buy the book right there, or you can get it on audio, which is how most of us read the books. Let's give everybody who showed up to the call today a round of applause. Your success is our success. We're on a mission to build 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. So I get asked often, how can I help? That's right. Throw the shirts up. If you're wearing one of our shirts, put it up on the camera. Masters of Influence, Mission to Millions, names on deeds. I see you, ladies and gentlemen. That's how it's done. You get on your mission to millions, and we'll all be, I see Doreen's pillow, we'll all be at the 100 Millionaire Summit, October 21st to the 22nd, 23rd. Vinny Chopra will be there. By the way, this is for our VIPs only. We show up on the 20th. We have a special day, a very special day planned for the VIPs. Vinny Chopra is flying in early. He'll be having dinner with us. So you'll be sitting in the presence of somebody who's built a $700 million portfolio. Hands to the camera if you're interested in the VIP tickets now. The 100 Millionaire Summit, we're pulling out all the stops. We've got a ton of amazing people. Ken Walls, Vinny Chopra, Liz Faircloth. We've got Rod Cleef. Obviously, I'll be speaking. We've got Michael Shine, Doug McGurk, Mitch Jorsky, Mitch Durfee. We've got celebrity coaches. Everybody's written a book. Ryan McDermott will be there. Ron Bowling will not be on stage. But if you have ever considered shaking the hands of my business partners, all of my business partners will be at the 100 Millionaire Summit. You'll be able to hang out with Frank Montero. You'll hang out with Mark Dozwa. You'll get to see the beautiful Dorina. I may even drag her on stage. And we'll also be celebrating 100 millionaires on our 100 Millionaires night on Saturday night, the networking night. We're going to be giving awards to the millionaires who are building millionaires. Everybody who's donated a course in Alchemist Nation will be there at the event with us, and we'll be actually handing them an award. So this is the event of the year. It's 100mmsummit.com. Register your tickets now. Prices are still at the early bird special, but they will be going up. We're only 4 months out, so it's time to get your tickets. Let's give everybody on the call one more round of applause. Our millionaires, our multimillionaires, our coaches, our mentors, our professionals, and for you, everybody who shows up every week, who takes action on these action steps, who implies everything that they're learning, for the people who ask questions, who are vulnerable, who are building themselves every week, building themselves not just for themselves, not just for you, but for your family, for the people you know you're going to impact, for the people who you are growing right now, who you're raising, who are running around thinking about things that, can I do this? Is this possible for me? You're the person who can prove that it's possible by being successful yourself, by bringing yourself to that next level. So thank you for your success. Let's give everybody on this call a round of applause who's committed to becoming a millionaire, getting to the next level and building millionaires. And I see Mike Shine's hand up.
And because he never asks for it himself, and because he totally deserves it, and he crushes it every single week, let's give Walter Amarello a round of applause.
Hey man, that's so true, so true.
Hoorah.
Congratulations, brother.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I care deeply about you. I care about your success. We're here for one reason. It's to be our very best, to live the best life we can. And we can't do it alone. So we do it with amazing community partners. Cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best. Love you guys.
Always. Good night.
Bye, everybody.